So the HRG Kaboomstick, one of the new HRG weapon coming up for this summer update. And this is a double barrel shotgun for demolitionists, which is quite unique. So, just like the normal double barrel shotgun, you can fire one barrel at a time, or you can fire both barrels. And when you fire both barrels, you will propel yourself, the opposite direction you're aiming, which means, you can move yourself faster backwards, or you can, use it to shotgun jump, basically. Which is pretty nice. So let's go over this weapon. This is a tier 3 weapon that costs $1,100, which means it's $100 cheaper than the M16. And just like the M16, it weighs 6 kilograms, and as well, you can upgrade it, just like most other weapons in this game. So what's good about the Kaboomstick? Well, first of all, let's go over flesh pounds, which, you're a demolitionist, you are supposed to be the one that is able to kill flesh pounds pretty well. So can this weapon kill flesh pounds? Pretty well. Well, if you're close to a flesh pound and it's not rage, what you can do is that you bash, shoot both barrels, reload, shoot both barrels, and then shoot both barrels again. So as you saw there, I got the long stumble, which allows you to get a complete safe takedown against them. However, if you don't get the long stumble, what you want to do is that after your second shot, you want to back off a little bit, giving you a little bit of time to reload so you can fire off the third shot. Although, if your aim is not perfect, the flesh pound might survive the third shot, so just keep that in mind when you're using this weapon at tier 3. So yeah. And of course, against a rage flesh pound, what you can do, just like the double barrel shotgun for support, is that you keep using the off-fire to knock yourself back to try to avoid getting hit. So yeah. So you want to, just as the flesh pound is attacking, when it's rage, you jump and shoot both barrels, so try to avoid getting hit as much as possible. So, and also something that is quite nice about this weapon, with concussive rounds, this weapon can actually stumble a rage flesh pound if you shoot both barrels, which is pretty nice. So, if you want to sacrifice some damage over, safety, I guess, you can use concussive rounds, but overall I still find armor-piercing rounds to be more useful with this weapon, mainly because of how more effective your other weapons become, especially against Scrakes. And speaking of Scrakes, is this weapon good against Scrakes? Well, it's a double barrel shotgun, so you can use it to take down just like the support ones. Although if you're using Bombardier, you can't line up the second shot. And yeah, as you can see against Scrakes, this weapon is quite difficult to decap Scrakes with. So overall with this weapon, what I would recommend is that you try to avoid killing or going for Scrakes as much as possible. Only kill them if you really have to. And if you really have to kill a Scrake, what I will recommend you to do is that you do something like this. Then throw dynamite. And then just keep hugging him. So yeah, that way you can basically go for a 3-shot or 3 alt-fire shot takedown. Which is possible at the tier 3 with Bombardier, of course. So yeah, and when it comes to quarter pounds, something that's really nice about quarter pounds, at tier 3, you require 3 shots, so you can use an off-fire and a single shot. Also, this weapon can, if I get a rage spawn, please game. There we go. Against rage quarter pounds, what is really nice about this weapon, even without concussive rounds, if you hit enough shots, you will stumble them. So this weapon is extremely good against quarter pounds as well. So yeah, with Bombardier, even at tier 3, this weapon is amazing. When it comes to upgrading this weapon, if you're running Bombardier, in my opinion, you should not really bother with the upgrades if you're running Bombardier. But something that is nice to know though, is that at tier 5, you can actually kill quarter pounds in 2 shots. But other than that, the amount of, reloads you actually have to do during takedowns does not change. So with Bombardier, my opinion, don't bother to really upgrade it, run an RPG instead, which gives you a Scrake kill weapon, or, one of the other weapons to basically have a better loadout overall. Yeah, but that was this weapon with Bombardier. However, if you're using Shock Trooper, this weapon becomes completely different, so let me show you that. Okay, so this weapon with Shock Trooper. At tier 3, it's not too special, and the reason why, unlike the Bombardier, if you're using this with Bombardier, against flesh pounds now, come on, typing is hard. Against flesh pounds, instead of requiring 3 alt fires to kill it, you now require 4, as you can see. Or 3 in a single shot, if you want to save some ammo. If you're completely sure that, you know, the 3 the 3 alt fires are actually hitting on target pretty well. So yeah, and same thing still against Grakes. Overall, you don't really want to bother against Grakes, because you don't really have a good takedown setup or anything. And even then, this weapon has too much spread to reliably hit the head of the Scrake at a distance. So yeah, so still with Shock Trooper, avoid Scrake as much as possible, and only go for him if you really have to. So yeah, so at tier 3, this weapon, compared to using Bombardier with it, it's not too great. However, when you have Shock Trooper and upgrade this weapon to tier 4, this weapon becomes a completely different beast. And that's mainly because it has a safe on-range flesh pound takedown up close. So just like before, bash, alt fire, and alt fire. As you saw there, I didn't get the long stumble, but I was still capable of killing the flesh pound before he was able to get out of the rage animation. And you know, just like before, if you get a rage one, try to bait out attacks as much as possible while you're using alt fires to propel yourself backwards. So yeah, so if you upgrade this weapon to tier 4, it becomes a beast to use against flesh pounds when you're running Shock Trooper, of course. So that's something that is extremely good. And of course, just like before, against quarter pounds, you can kill them in 3 shots. You should be able to still kill them in 3 shots, even at tier 3. So with Shock Trooper, in general, this weapon is amazing against quarter pounds. I think you're barely... okay. At tier 3 you need 2 alt fires, but even then, you know, you only need to reload once, and your reload is super fast with Shock Trooper. So yeah, so at tier 3 this weapon is amazing against quarter pounds, since you can stumble rage quarter pounds and you could easily get a second shot off before they get out of the stumble animation. And when you upgrade this weapon to tier 4, you have a safe takedown against unraged flesh pounds up close. So yeah. But the problem though is that if you're running this weapon at tier 4, it now weighs 7, which locks you out from using the RPG and the M32, but mainly the RPG, because the RPG is Demolitionist's best grade king weapon. So keep that in mind if you're using it with Shock Trooper at tier 4. However, if you have the blunderbuss, you can actually use it with a blunderbuss and still upgrade it, so this is probably the best setup to use with a tier 4 with Shock Trooper. So yeah. So overall, the HRG Kaboomstick, amazing demolition weapon. If this feels like one of the few a weapon that Demolitionist actually needs, and it's one of the few Demolitionist weapons that are actually good to kill flesh bounds with. It has pretty good takedowns overall, and it has really fast time to kill. But yeah, but against Grakes, this weapon is not really that good. But again, Demolitionist isn't really supposed to be the best Scrake killer. However, since Demolitionists have RPG, it kind of is. But yeah, but enough about that. Yeah, but one last thing I want to say about this weapon though, of course, as you can see, you cannot damage yourself with it, which makes it pretty good. And if you are not using sonic resistant rounds, it just act like any other Demolitionist weapon, which means if a siren is screaming right at your face and you try to shoot the siren, nothing is going to happen, you're just wasting ammo, so keep that in mind. But yeah, that was the HRG Kaboomstick. Amazing addition, another amazing addition for Demolitionists in this update, and overall pretty balanced weapon. You still need to be close to flesh bounds to actually kill them reliably. And, you know, it's a double barrel shotgun, which means you can propel yourself backwards, but gives you some mobility as well, which the Demolitionist doesn't really have that much of. But yeah, but as I said, Kaboomstick, amazing, extremely versatile, works in a ton of setups, and yeah, really good weapon that isn't blatantly broken as well. So yeah, that's it. So yeah.